All right, here we are, day number 3, Dathlete Daily. And before we dig into deeper discussions, in this episode I wanted to talk about the 4 roles that I feel are most important within a man's life that really bleed out into all of the other elements that make up a man, that make up you. And these 4 roles is what I'm trying to build up. It's what the men inside the Forge Father are trying to build up. And I believe when you build these 4 roles up, it really helps you be a success overall. And so these 4 different roles are dad, you got husband, for those of you that are married. Most of the men that I work with are married. Producer, and then we got athlete. So the first one that I wanted to talk about is really the role of being a dad. And when you think about it a little bit deeper, it's a couple of different things. Really, it's the first thing that comes to mind for me is, being a role model, a leader. I know for me, when my first daughter was born, that's really what popped up inside of my head the most was, I want to be the best role model I can be for her, and obviously all my daughters that have followed, and any future kids that we have. It's just really about setting the example and just doing by doing. Don't talk about it, be about it, right? And what really makes me think deeper about being a dad is my dad. My dad was always an amazing role model. He led the way. Certainly he taught me hard work. He taught me, what it means to truly just go after what it is that you want and earn it. It's not going to be given to you. And he really led the way by being an amazing dad. He's still a great dad. And being the leader, being the role model, and also, being the parent, and that's something that I'm still learning more about as my oldest is 6, and so still trying to figure her out, how to talk to her. And, we just had an incident yesterday. Her and her sister got in a little scuffle in the front yard, and she decided to call her little sister a little bitch. And so I'm like, we're going inside, we're going to have a little conversation here. And I felt like I dealt with that pretty good. I think the old me would have got upset, would have let my emotions gotten the best of me. But, in that sense, you got to be the leader, and you got to control the temper, you got to control the emotions, and teach by doing, teach by setting the example, right? So, but the other part of parent and being a dad, I get this from my mom. It's just being, as a parent, it's your care, showing love, showing affection. I think that's important, and it's definitely different with having 3 daughters. I imagine it would be a little different with 3 boys, or how I'm going to treat a boy if and when we do have a boy. But really, that's the first role, and trying to maximize that is obviously very, very important within this journey. And so being a parent, and just continuing to be the leader, the role model. And then that kind of leads into the next role, which is husband. And to me, what comes to mind in being a husband is really being a partner, is being there. You're a part of a team. So communication is key. It's something that we talk about a lot in the Forge Father, is how do we improve communication. And typically when there's issues going on within the marital relationship, it's usually due to miscommunication, poor communication, or no communication at all. And so I feel like as a husband, I'm there to serve as my wife's partner, to be there to back her in anything and everything. Obviously, it's very, very important. But also it's there to, be a lover. But also, I feel this is very, very important, and something that my wife does amazing on her end is be an inspiration to me. She inspires me to do better. She inspires me to be better. And in turn, that's kind of the role that I take on with that as well, is I want to inspire her. I want to inspire her as my role as a dad, as a husband, as a producer, as an athlete. And I think it goes both ways. And so that's obviously another area that needs to continue to grow, continue to improve, and it will. And then the next role that I wanted to dig into is obviously the role of being a producer, right? And for me, this is the business side of me. This is the professional side of me. This is the entrepreneurial side of me, and being a builder for myself, but builder also for my family. And so to me, having my own gym, having my own business, being my own boss, any other entrepreneur out there will tell you right off the bat that it is not easy. Some entrepreneurs get into it. They think it's going to be great. You're your own boss. You can set your own hours. You can pay yourself whatever. But guess what? A lot of other problems come with that. A lot of other responsibilities, a lot of very, very heavy responsibilities come with that. And so filling the role of as producer, I feel is, as an entrepreneur, you're constantly on the path of continued growth. You're in school forever, basically. And since day one, becoming a producer, being an entrepreneur myself, I believe that's what's helped me ascend as a business owner and a producer. Is I continue to seek guidance. I continue to seek help to build as a producer, because it's very, very hard doing it alone. And so filling that producer role, I feel obviously is very, very important. But what for me and the men that I work with, the last role, the role of being an athlete, is what I feel drives the other roles and pushes the other roles. And that comes back to being an athlete. And I know I've shared this in earlier episodes, and I'll talk about it more as we go, but the athlete identity, the athlete side of me, that's just something that's always going to be with me. Like when I look in the mirror, I see an athlete. And when we dig below the surface of what an athlete is, what makes up the athlete role, the first thing that comes to mind is just being a competitor, right? And so when I lost my edge years and years and years ago, it was when I let go of my athlete identity. When I was done competing in football, when I was done traveling around, trying out for teams, playing a little bit of professional football, I hung the cleats up, so to speak, and I kind of hung up the athlete side of me. And for a period of time, I really kind of lost my way. I lost my purpose. I lost my competitive drive. I lost my fire. I lost that desire to just push and better myself. And it wasn't until, I saw who I was starting to become that I flipped that switch and I brought that athlete side of me back, and it's been with me forever, and it's going to be with me until I die. And it's about being a competitor. And this isn't about playing in a fucking sport. Like, you don't have to compete in a sport to be a competitor. You just have to have the mindset to compete, to push yourself, to get better, to not accept fucking average, and to, destroy mediocrity in your life. As an athlete, that's what you're pushing for. You're pushing to win. You're not going to settle to be a loser. Sure, you're going to take plenty of bumps, hits. You're going to get knocked off the path. You're going to have losses. But once an athlete, always an athlete, you're going to come back, you're going to push forward, and you're going to keep going forward. And so that last role as an athlete, I feel, is what really drives forward those three other roles. And so as a competitor, you're going to push yourself to be a better father. As a competitor, you're going to push yourself to be a better husband. As a competitor, you're going to push yourself to be a better producer. To not only be just one amongst many, to be the fucking one. And that's what you should be striving for. And the men that are inside the Force Father, they know this. It's about refusing average. It's about, setting the standard up above. Not to say that you're better than anybody, but you're better than the man in the fucking mirror. And you're not going to settle for the bullshit. And so as we continue to push on down this path with Dathlete Daily, I'm going to be digging into each of these roles even deeper. They're going to be coming up within stories that I share. But now that these are the 4 roles that we're trying to build and maximize over time, you'll understand exactly what I'm talking about. So again, if you're on this journey with me, please feel free, drop the comment, or tag Dathlete in the comments. Feel free to share this with anybody that you feel will get value out of it. But I welcome you in this. I welcome you on board with this journey, and it's going to be a fun one. So continue to do the work, earn it.